The fluorescent lights in the ER were blinding. The smell of antiseptic burned my nose. And my daughter, my only child, was behind those double doors, fighting for her life. I was covered in her blood. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My phone buzzed. One last message from my mother before she blocked me. It's not our problem anymore. You made your choices. Choices? That's what she called it. Raising my daughter alone, working 3 jobs, refusing to crawl back after they threw me out. They wanted me broken, dependent, obedient. But what they didn't know was I'd already buried that version of me. That night, I realized I had no one, not a single hand to hold. My family had abandoned me at my lowest. And then he appeared. A man in a tailored suit sat down beside me. I didn't recognize him at first. His presence was calm, deliberate. He studied me, not with pity, but with recognition, like he saw something familiar in my pain. He leaned closer and said one sentence that cracked something open in me. Family isn't blood, it's loyalty. Backstory. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when I believed my mother loved me, when she'd stroke my hair and whisper that she'd always protect me. But love, I learned, had conditions in our house. When I got pregnant at 19, she turned her back. My stepfather sneered. My siblings laughed. They called me ruined. They said the baby would be my punishment. Still, I built a life. I clawed my way through nights of hunger, jobs that paid pennies, and every whispered insult that made its way back to me. I raised my daughter with nothing but stubbornness and scraps of faith. She became my reason to breathe, my one treasure. And yet, when she needed me most, I was alone. Discovery of betrayal. When I called my mother from the ambulance, her voice was ice. Why should we care? You walked away from this family years ago. Don't call again. That was it. No hesitation, no sympathy, just dismissal. It was then I understood the truth. They never cut me off to punish me. They cut me off because, deep down, they wanted me gone. They wanted me erased. Shift in mindset. I didn't cry, not then. Instead, I sat in that waiting room, staring at the clock, my pulse sinking with every tick. And I made a decision. If family was no longer blood, then blood meant nothing. If they could abandon me so easily, then I would return the favor, with precision. Not by yelling, not by begging, by building, quietly, patiently, ruthlessly. Execution of the plan. The billionaire beside me wasn't a stranger for long. His name was Daniel. He'd lost his wife years ago in a similar ER waiting room. He knew the sting of abandonment, the venom of betrayal. And he gave me something more valuable than money: guidance. He showed me how to shift my life, how to turn pain into leverage. He opened doors that had been bolted shut my whole life. I went back to school at night, built my business in the shadows. Every dollar I earned, I invested. Every insult my family once spat at me became fuel. While they stayed in their crumbling house, clinging to borrowed money and empty pride, I was building an empire. Years passed. I didn't rush. Revenge is sweeter when it's savored slowly. Climax and confrontation. The day came like fate had written it. My mother called me, desperate. Their house was being repossessed. My stepfather had squandered everything. They needed help. For the first time in years, they wanted me. Just a small loan, my mother begged. We're family. That word again, family. It almost made me laugh. I agreed to meet them. Neutral ground, a coffee shop downtown. I arrived in a car they couldn't dream of affording, in clothes that whispered success. The look on their faces was priceless. They barely recognized me. "You've done well," my stepfather muttered, masking envy with forced civility. I sipped my coffee slowly, savoring the moment. Yes, I have. Then I leaned in, locked eyes with my mother, and repeated the same words the billionaire once gave me. Family isn't blood, it's loyalty. I let that sink in before I added, and you lost the right to call me family the night you left me bleeding in that ER. Her mouth opened, closed. My stepfather stammered something about forgiveness, about moving on. I stood, dropped $100 bill on the table. Not for them, but for the coffee. You wanted me erased, I said calmly. Consider it done. As far as I'm concerned, you don't exist. And I walked out. Resolution. I never looked back. They lost the house weeks later. The family fractured, turning on each other like wolves fighting over scraps. Me? I built a new life. My daughter survived that night in the ER. She grew stronger, sharper, my mirror in every way. The billionaire who once sat beside me became my mentor, my ally, my chosen family. And I kept the lesson burned into my bones.